What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. All right, so we are going to talk about student loan cancellation, and this is no surprise. This is something that we've been waiting for, but we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know the amount. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the negatives of this whole situation, because although this is good news for a lot of people who are currently have student loan debt, this is also there's some negatives that are in here. And I just watched the President Biden talk about the student loan cancellation and how they want to move forward. And there's one thing that he didn't talk about, and I think it needs to be addressed. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so first off, let's talk about what will be happening. So we're looking at $10,000, so $10,000 of cancellation. That's for anyone making $125,000 or less. Okay, and if you're a couple making $250,000 or less, you will qualify for getting $10,000 wiped off your current debt when it comes to student loans. Also, Pell grants. That's an additional $10,000. So if you qualify for that, and so that will bring your total, if you're receiving Pell grants, to $20,000. So you wouldn't get just the $10,000, but you'll get an additional $10,000. So the total would be $20,000 for you. So this is going to make a lot of people happy. A lot of people who have student loan debt currently, they're going to be happy to hear about this. Now they also have this 5% plan that's coming into place as well, and that basically says that you will pay 5% of your income. Okay, so 5% of your income will go towards student loan debt, and you can do that for 20 years. If you do that for 20 years, then the rest of your debt is automatically wiped out. Okay, and they talked about a lot of different plans. What I want to do is I want to sit down and do my little illustration and have all the different plans that the president has in mind, and put that all on paper and let you guys see it that way. I don't want to just tell you on this. I want to actually show you guys and kind of walk you through a lot of what's going to be happening. Now, another thing that they're going to be doing is they're going to be extending the deferment. So right now we're under deferment, so people do not have to pay their student loans, and they're going to extend that until the end of the year. And so starting January, that's when you'll have to start paying again. And so that gives people who are in the situation where they haven't been paying for the last 2 years, they have a little bit of an extended period. But that's it. The president said they're not going past December. So you will have to start making those repayments in January. And so all in all, it sounds like a very, very good deal for a lot of people. We're talking about 43 million people who will benefit from this in some way. It might not completely wipe out their student loan debt, but it will have some effect. And so all in all, this is good news for a lot of people who have debt, student loan debt. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the negatives. And first off, I just want you guys to understand that I had $30,000 of student loan debt. I did pay it off a couple of years ago. And so the first problem that I have with this cancellation is that you had a lot of people that have paid their student loans off. And now they're looking at a situation where they paid it off, and let's say they paid it off last year, the year before last, or they just paid it off 6 months ago. Now they're in a situation where they paid it off, but other people are going to get $10,000 wiped off their student loan debt. That's a real bad situation for those people who have made that commitment to pay it off. And there's no surprise when you take on the student loan debt. You know that you're taking on student loan debt and you have to pay it off. And so for the people who have made that commitment and made that sacrifice, because that's what it is, it's sacrifice to pay off the student loans, now you're kind of showing them that, no, the federal government's going to take care of some people and wipe out their student loan debt, but in your situation you had to pay for it. And so it's I don't know, I think it sends the wrong message when it comes to that. it sends the wrong message in the future as well, because now that this has been done, you know 10 years down the road, they're going to be talking about doing something like this again, or there's going to be a want to do this again. And so what is that saying for people who are currently getting student loans? They're thinking, okay, well, you know what? I can just rack up debt, because in the end, the federal government is going to come in and they're going to wipe out this debt, or at least wipe out some of the debt. And so I have a problem with that. I have a problem with us looking at it that way. I also think that, and this is the big key here, universities, colleges, they're going to continue to raise their prices. Why? Because they can. And they can because student loans are set up in such a way that if you don't have enough money for tuition, don't worry about it. You'll be able to get student loans to pay for your college education. And then you'll just have to pay it off in the future. And then you're always going to hear, because of this $10,000 being wiped out and the $20,000 if you have Pell grants, you're going to hear the people that are trying to give you these student loans, they're going to say, hey, you know what? The federal government at some point will probably come in and wipe out some of this student loan debt. And so you don't have to worry about racking up this debt. But the reality is we can't keep doing this. The federal government cannot keep coming in and wiping out this debt, because the people who are winning, are the colleges and universities, because they're able to charge more and just tell you that, hey, you know what, don't worry about it, it'll be taken care of in the future. And so that's what I have a problem with. It's not so much the student loans, which, like I said, it is unfair for some of those who've already paid off their student loans, but I have a problem with the colleges and universities, and that's not being addressed. The colleges and universities, and I'm not talking about the corrupt colleges and universities, because they have wiped out student loan debt for some of these colleges that are just they're making promises that they're not keeping when it comes to telling people that they're going to be able to receive these high-paying jobs as soon as they get out of college, and it just never happens. I'm not talking about those colleges. I'm talking about colleges that are charging these enormous amounts of money to attend their college, and I mean, it's ridiculous. And I give this story all the time when I was going to school, and I went to UNLV. I went to college in Nevada, and one of the things that just baffled me was the fact that I was paying $750 for half a room. And at that time, we're talking early 90s, at that time, that was a lot of money for rent. I was paying that for half of a room. It was a dorm room, and the dorm room is generally a little bit larger than a regular sized bedroom. I had half of that space, and I was paying $750. That's just ridiculous. And colleges get away with this all the time. And I just think in the future they're going to be getting away with it again because of the student loan cancellation. And they're just going to raise their prices even higher. And so that is a fear that I have. Now also, I've heard this argument, and I think this is more of a weak argument, but I've heard this argument about inflation. This is going to make prices go up even higher in certain ways. Now, although I can agree maybe when it comes to the housing market and things like that, it will drive prices up higher. When it comes to inflation, like at the grocery store and things like that, I don't really think this is going to have an effect. And the main reason why is because the student loans have been deferred all this time. We're talking the last 2 years, they've been deferred. So people haven't really been paying their student loans. They didn't have to. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to, you could have continued to pay, but there was no penalty if you didn't pay, so most people didn't pay. And so I don't think we're going to see a spike when it comes to the price of groceries and things like that, because people weren't paying it already. And so we're not going to see a significant change. Now, if people were paying their student loans and then we got to a situation where they're going to cancel it, and then let's say you're paying $200 a month and now you no longer have to pay that $200 a month, well, that would be different, because they were currently paying that $200 a month, and the next month they don't have to pay that $200 a month, so they might use that $200 to purchase more groceries or what have you, and drive the price of groceries up. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. And so we'll just have to see. And like I said, I do want to do. I want to put this on paper so you guys can see exactly what they plan to do. But I just wanted to respond. We had the president just talking about this. And so if you guys have questions, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.